JJ Solomon.
This is Ray Bradshaw, Mr. RTBA. Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. And this is the Spit Bucket Podcast.
It's your boy, Mr. RTBA, Mr. 214. Senor Dos Uno Cuatro. Senor Dos. Catorce. Mr. Undeniable. Mr. These boys can't touch me. On my worst day. Hey. Right here with my partner in crime, JJ Solomon. What's popping?
What's up, bro? I'm excited for tonight. Boy, do we have the guest of all guests today, bro. Tell them about who we got coming up today.
Hey, man, we got one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. You know, this man has a true argument when it comes to about being one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. We got the pioneer. We got the alien. We got the executioner. We got the legend. We got Bernard Hopkins. He's in the building, ladies.
Yes, sir. Let's welcome Mr. Bernard, the alien Hopkins, to the show, man. Thank you for joining us tonight, B-Hop.
Thank you. I had to go ahead. Got the bucket right next to me. So. Hey, guess what? I didn't miss.
You don't ever miss, B.
I did. No, sir. No, sir. So,
first off,
I remember
we being from Dallas.
Oh, boy.
Texas, I want to say congratulations to the Philadelphia, even though I despise them. I can't stand the Philly. You know, that's that rival with Dallas and Philadelphia. I can't stand them with nothing in me, but I got to say congratulations. And,
yeah, man.
It's not over until it's over, but I will be headed out to check that historic moment out. It's been 5 years, 4 to 5 years, man. We back at this again. The city of Philadelphia, and it ain't done till it's done. So, but I tell you one thing, man. Philly's coming up there representing. They some people have been out there 2 days, 3 days already. So I'm excited for the city. Coming, behind a lot of stuff, COVID and all that stuff, and you come out and you have a season of this magnitude and the quarterback, man. Oh my God! So when you start putting those together, man, it's a good time for the city, and it's a good time for sports in general. I mean, football. This is the season. And we better see who comes out on top, man, very, very soon.
It's exciting for sure, but it does pain me to see them Eagles back in there again. Dude,
I
was 10 years old last time, so that pain comes from a little bit of jealousy, too, I'll be real honest.
Yes.
I want to be there bad. So yeah, man, we got a lot to cover. There's a lot of business to talk to. I want to, we have a few things we want to address, but me and Corey were talking, and we feel like it's only right, especially for all these new school fight fans who don't really understand your legacy. I mean, 20 title defenses. This is back when there wasn't that many politics in boxing. The 20 title defenses in middleweight. If not, like Corey said, one of the greatest, if not the greatest.
If not the greatest. Yeah. He has an argument, JJ Solomon. Bernard, the executioner, the alien Hopkins, he really has an argument. We ain't talking about a guy who started, how some people come in the game, fighters, they start from the root of the fruit. They 5 years old. They get through in boxing. We talking about a guy who didn't get his career till late in his career. And to be able to accomplish everything that he was able to accomplish, it's an argument for this guy right here.
No, man, no doubt, B. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead and let you finish.
I was just going to say the epitome of F what people say, the epitome of down but not out, the epitome of the card stacked against you, and look at you, man, Hall of Fame career. And not only that, it's important that people realize, we were talking about this yesterday, Bernard, you're getting to that twilight, them good ages where you enjoy the work you've done, and we're not having to see you chase his money with exhibitions and putting your life at risk and all that. So salute to you, dude, because you did it right. You showed how to beat boxing, and you shut a lot of people up along the way.
But like JJ, go ahead, Bernard.
Good.
No, go ahead.
I also, first of all, like to, I like to thank everybody that not only yourself and everyone for recognizing all the accolades and things that that I had to overcome and accomplish to even get introductions as of what I've just received. And if you look at, I mean, I turned pro at 5. You was absolutely right. I mean, that's late. Anybody know in any era, you turning pro at 25. I mean, if you got 10 or less years, 10 if you're lucky, definitely it could be less than that. And you accomplish even being known, never alone or whether you become champion or not. I mean, and then you just peel in one page, and then there's another page, and there's another page. So I respect those who look at me in the same light that you just introduced me as. Is very, very important. And torch has been passed through generation to generation. I still have a torch, but I'm still passing the knowledge and in my way to the next generation. And hopefully, man, that it continue, which I believe it will continue to be passed down to others to be able to speak whether we going or doing whatever we're doing besides what we love, and it's boxing, of course, or at least talking about it. Thanks, and thanks. And it wasn't easy. Nobody said it was easy. But I wanted it and I needed it to save my life, which will be shown very, very soon. My story, my trials and tribulations, my ups and downs, becoming a man in this sport very, very quickly. Not just in age and not just in what you've been through and things like that. They have some merit, but I'm just speaking on basically you must become a man in time in this sport, whether it's the physical or the business, either side or both sides. Eventually, you're going to have some type of knowledge or some type of experience to be able, or both, to be able to be successful.
No doubt.
And I can't wait, because that's going to be a hell of a story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hope whoever putting this together, I hope they put this together right, because your trials and tribulations and how you overcame everything, that's a hell of a story. And I can't wait to see that. And that's the way we want to start off this show.
Yeah,
by celebrating
absolutely
who you are first, for a lot of the people who don't know you and a lot of the people who do know you.
And before we got on today, Corey and I had a conversation, man, and we were talking about how we wanted to do the show today and focus a little bit about you before we jump into all the boxing business and what's going on right now. And we were talking about, for me, the fight was De La Hoya, and Corey said Trinidad. And you, both of those fights, you want to talk about the boxing market that you tapped into when you pretty much pitched a shutout and then finished Tito Trinidad in the 12th round after he looked great against William Joppy. And then you go and do it to that Mexican fan base, the Mexican-American fan base, with their superstar and Oscar De La Hoya. That was, 3 years removed, if I'm not mistaken. And what you did, man, if you want to touch a little bit, we got a quick highlight on
you got them clips, JJ, play them clips real quick.
But if you want to touch a bit about how the Trinidad fight, what that did for you, and then we'll jump into the Oscar De La Hoya fight. Obviously, we got a little bit of clip of the knockout here. And there it is, man. That was it. R.I.P. Steve Smoger there. But
yes, R.I.P.
What did this do for you, man? What did it do to your confidence? What did it do to the trajectory of your career? I remember you laying down on the ring after they stopped it. What are your thoughts on the Tito Trinidad fight?
First, as the world know, especially Americans, it was historic on both ends. In boxing, for me, history. and also history to America. 9/11. I'm attached, and that's attached to me. That historic moment there, where the fight was scheduled for the 15th of September and been postponed to the 29th. 2 weeks later, the biggest event in New York City, probably big event in every state in America, at least, because of the terrorist attack, of course. So, so when you have those, I mean, come on, that was a mental, spiritual, and always back forth. And whatever you're gonna look at it, you're gonna look at that as being, it's gonna happen, the fight's gonna happen. Who's thinking about a fight, thinking about saving your life, thinking about things happening as you're still in New York City. So a lot of things had to be actually thought out. And one of the things I said to Brother Nazim, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Nas.
Brother Nazim did many reports. You can YouTube it. Brother Nazim speaks about Bernard Hopkins saying he wants to go to Harlem. They're not going to bomb Harlem. What man, what person thinks like that, where he's still locked in? He's still locked in, but understand, remorseful would happen, things like that, as far as all that. But until I hear the fight's off, they're not going to bomb Harlem. They going for the money district. They going for the twin. They not. Let's go to Harlem, where at least we can train, we can get together. Brother Nazim, who's not here, but his voice is here, his image is here. And I'm challenging your listeners and everybody, go Google it. He's there, red kufi, red t-shirt.
Bernard,
that's but before I lose it, that's the focus.
Bernard, I remember that fight just like it was yesterday. And in my opinion, tell me am I wrong? I think that fight, even though you was accomplished, that win against Tito Trinidad at the time, was that your coming out party to where everybody from the 214 to across the pond knew who Bernard the Executioner Hopkins was?
That was the come out party, and I'm here to stay. And, which is important, my history is going to start from that fight on, and we know how long it lasts. But yes, that was a statement to the highest demeanor.
Absolutely.
To let the world know what they've been hearing is true.
No,
is the executioner, because I built it up so much based on all the things that happened leading up to the fight, and we all know what that was. 9/11 was like the ultimate end, but it was some things that happened, as everyone know, in the press conference. This there, a couple of riots broke out.
Yeah.
When you take that historic moment for me in boxing history, there are so many things that happened in that fight and leading up to the fight, which I mentioned earlier, makes it historic itself. To talk about it at length with anybody, based on all the things that could have distracted any of us, it didn't. At least it didn't for me. I'm only speaking for me.
Me too.
No doubt. And it's crazy, man, because what was that? Your 13th, 14th defense in middleweight?
Correct.
Yeah. And what's crazy to me, it reminds me a lot of Hagler. It took you 13, 14 title defenses to get mainstream. And that speaks to the testament of your work ethic, that you don't necessarily need the pats on the back to keep grinding. And like we said, that set you up. That set up that Hall of Fame run, that crazy ass run. And then leading right up, I know this was 3 years later, but my childhood hero, Oscar De La Hoya, man, I remember he he looked a little okay against Felix Sturm, and that was a little controversial. But in my head, I was thinking, all right, he just overlooked him. He's ready for B-Hop, despite the size, despite the experience. And again, you did what nobody had done at the time, and that was stop De La Hoya. I remember that fight, though, man. It almost looked.
You got that clip, Jay?
Yeah, I was about to throw the clip up of the knockout. I remember De La Hoya was like starting to get comfortable with you. There's a knockout, the finish. And it almost seemed like you were luring him in, man. Like, he was real tense at first. You were keeping your distance. And De La Hoya is a master technician, right? He's defensively responsible and all the things we're supposed to say. What was the game plan? Check out the vicious body shot, man. I remember. What was the game plan? And how would you say you executed it perfectly, but was that the perfect game plan for you? Did it go just as you planned it?
Well, before I answer that, let me ask both of y'all a question. Do you want me to answer that as Bernard the executioner in that fight? You want me to ask as Bernard the promoter?
I want to hear the executioner.
I want to hear the executioner.
I want to hear the executioner.
All right, now the executioner knew that I had to get to Oscar, but get to him at a time where I know I had to close the show. Now, let me express a little bit further. Bowie Fisher, R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
Like my father and my teacher, was letting me know in between the rounds, especially after, I believe, the 6th round, that I was behind on points. And I need to keep closing the gap. De La Hoya, his speed was no joke. He had speed. Now, Nazim came under Bowie Fisher. Nazim was always in my ear about closing the gap, no big punches, get in with jab, work your way in, and then let the punches go once you get close. That wasn't easy to do, but as rounds went on, I started closing the gap. And I seen Oscar kind of not slowing down, but getting comfortable.
Yes.
Like, no, I'm telling you, I can call this fight like it was yesterday. And I seen that Oscar was getting confident. I wanted him to be confident. I wanted him to be confident to the point where I could stand with this guy. And you got to remember, I was old, 35 plus years old when I beat Tito. A couple of years after that fight with Tito, you got to remember I'm older now. So I'm, of course, that was part of the, some media people, when it's the sand, it's going to run out the jar, the clock, whatever. So you take all that, and I wasn't thinking that in the ring, obviously, but I'm taking all this through press conference and training and all that, understanding he got to be listening to this, or his handlers, trainers, anything. And I know for a fact they banking on my age. So I wanted to make Oscar work early in the early rounds. That's why he was moving. That's why he was throwing a whole bunch of punches. And then when I realized I touch him here, I touch him there, I touch him there, but the damage is going to start happening later between the 6th, 7th. And I knew if I continue to press him, if I continue to mentally press him, for young fighters that's watching this, let me give you some game. Mentally pressure is giving you an illusion that you ready to get hit because I'm that close and I can't hit you. But the pressure is coming all the time. And every now and then you do get hit. That mental energy you're burning physically along with the mental energy burning and anxiety and all that stuff. Eventually, you're going to be fighting to survive and not fighting to win. Before that happened, Oscar threw a punch out of fear, basically out of panic, because I gave him the illusion that I was there, and then I never left, never took a step back. I waited for him to throw the right hand. He missed it about that much, went along, and the connection. It was a timing punch. It was a timing executioner. It was timing. It was letting his body meet my hands and my movement and that left hook. And that was the lights out. That's when I literally, the light switch, like you turn it down, is off, is out.
Oh.
And that's what people couldn't believe. People don't think you can get hurt quicker with a sharp punch to the liver or to the stomach and knock the wind out you. It paralyzed you. He wasn't knocked out, obviously, but he was paralyzed. And when you paralyzed, your mind says one thing, but your body got a different idea.
Hey, and respect to Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah.
You know,
taking the fight because not a middleweight, but I know that he had speed that I never seen before. And I've been there. Listen, I've been in the ring with Roy Jones when Roy in '93. So they ain't too far from being out of the Olympics. You know, that Roy still is the fastest. Don't get me wrong. Hold up. I don't want none of this.
Yeah, go get people running with this.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But Oscar started off as a junior lightweight. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe lightweight, whatever he started. Junior lightweight, whatever, lightweight. To me, fighting the middleweight all my career, I mean, I did 75, made history here, but come on, let's keep it real. I made my career at 160 pounds.
But respect to him though, because in respect to the Golden Boy, this is no disrespect. I've never seen nobody get folded with a body shot like that in my life. Look, I couldn't, like, if I was boxing you, if I was Oscar De La Hoya, I couldn't be your friend after you and beat me with a body shot. Like, because that body shot went viral. So tell me, after that body shot and the way it went viral, is that how you and Oscar De La Hoya formulated your relationship, or was the relationship already there?
I think, first of all, I think the fight showed afterwards respect. We was at the ESPYs, and I remember I was nominated for Fighter of the Year, obviously, based on beating Oscar. I became a really, I believe, not with the Trinidad fight, but I became fighting Oscar and achieving that win, that knockout. Had me on Jay Leno's couch that Monday. I stayed over to LA. They wanted me to stay. I did some TV runs. As I say, Jay Leno on his show. That's still out there in social media. And then, you know, I had the ESPYs. As months went by, I returned back to LA for the ESPYs. And Oscar and I had conversations. We tuxedoed up and we there. And look, my biggest payday to date. I got star power now that I didn't receive in 01, believe it or not, after I beat Tito. I was in federal court with Don King after that fight. No promoter, all the belts, too much power. We got to shut him down. Boy, this documentary of mine is going to be so awesome. I'm glad George Foreman is coming out. His movie is coming soon. I want to be able to stand alone on mine and let the people understand that it ain't competition. It's different lives, different stories, and I'm telling mine. So going back to the Oscar fight and win in the ESPYs, he said, I'm going to open my own company. And I went over to the table. He didn't come over to me. I went over to the table and thanked a man that didn't have to fight me, even though it was for the fourth title, which no fighter ever won but me. I hold a record on that, the WBO. So let the fans know. I know it's a lot of belts out there, but I still hold the record as the oldest fighter, the George Foreman record to date, and also owning all 4 major titles that matters.
Yep.
Last title that Oscar and I fought for was vacant. Paco, the president, the WBO. Oscar is moving up to 160. But the world fans don't know or might have heard and might not have really paid too much attention, I had to agree to a catch weight. He had a good manager. He had a good promoter, top rank. They knew I was bigger, of course. The world knew I was bigger. But they ain't my problem. He won my title. So, okay, I wanted the big payday and I wanted the big fight. And I knew this fight would take me to where I need to go. As far as respect that I don't feel I got no one. So I agreed to fight Oscar for my titles. That's at 160 pounds, but at a catch weight at 157. If you look up right now as I speak, talking to the world of boxing fans, I don't think they thought I was going to make that and be strong. I came in 1.5 pounds, maybe 2. I might be off from my memory. But I even came under the agreement on the contract to make a statement. Wow. It blew everybody's mind. Y'all want to hear someone tell y'all, obviously of some age, that they remember that. They read it, but it's out there in the world. You just got to look for it. Why did I do that? Why did I lose that extra pounds to come in there as a junior middleweight on that scale? I think that's the first time in a long time that, especially, I never done it when I was middleweight champion. I came in 156 and a half, 157. Wow. And that made the fight continue to be a fight. And I have no regrets on that fight. I fought hard, but I if I didn't go and do what I was told to do in my corner, I'm pretty sure I would have lost that fight by some kind of decision because I was losing on the card going into the 5th round. And I had to go ahead and be aggressive. I believe I had him wore out, like I said earlier. I wore him down mentally and physically, having him thinking that he got to fight me off him before I even threw a punch or he even threw a punch. They call it anxiety now. And he had that from round 1 to it ended. And that's the strategy. And so I feel when me and Oscar had that conversation at the ESPYs that he's going to start his this promotional company. Now, it didn't happen right away. I'll say about another year went by, and we had a connection. And
yeah, that's
the story. That's the story from there. I mean, that's how things kicked off because I didn't want to have another promoter, and I didn't want to be a part of that world on that side based on how I felt.
I've always wanted to ask you this. This is a shot right after the De La Hoya fight. And I remember you jumping on the corner and almost like asking the fans, was that enough? Do y'all know who I am? What was that? What were you feeling right there when you were looking around at the fans, man, and with your arms out like that?
What do I have to prove now after this night? Because I understand that you always going to have doubters and you're always going to have challenges. But right at that moment, I'm like, okay, the way the hype was, the way and who I was fighting. I mean, I know when I win this fight, never said if, that I ain't got to worry about like this, like the door going to open up. Like, this is like, okay, this is your guy. This is the guy. Okay, I got to get this one. So those hands out, words that I was saying, even through the media afterwards, that was like, I'm here. Superstar status. The purse is, listen, last fight purse is not going to be the next one. And as more as I kept winning and kept making statements in some shape, form, or fashion, I knew that my market and my talent was going to be now respected. And that's all I wanted. And I just had to go through my trials and tribulations. And let me tell you something, I have no regrets. I really used the Frank Sinatra song in the lyrics. I do take it to heart because that's how I felt, and that's how I always will feel. And I'm just proud that I never thought once of not being who I am. That's key. You got to be who you are, or you're never going to be the best at what you think you can do.
Love it, man. I love
And
it.
you know, and speaking of that, you saying being the best you could be, or you never gonna be able to do what you could do. Y'all got a big fight. It's a big fight that's brewing with Golden Boy Promotions and Premier Boxing Champions. And Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Flash Garcia.
Right before we jump into that, let's play some bills real quick, Corey. Real quick. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. We want to talk business now.
We all have battles. We fight. We train. We work. We persevere. And we celebrate. We are all one.
I can't do anything if I can't walk in my prosthetic. It's a lot of pain that I feel throughout my day. It can be very intense. Now I just put that balm over it and it will heal up much faster and it will let the callus recover. That's amazing. It is a total game changer. I am hooked. I'm just hooked.
Life is hard. KO makes it better. KOCBD.com.
KOCBD.com. Check it out. CBD, pain relief, anxiety, help you sleep. Thank you guys from our friends over at KO Therapeutics. Y'all check them out when y'all get a chance. Use the discount code TSB10. But now,
y'all make sure y'all go check out KO Therapeutics. They're one of the best in the business. Y'all make sure y'all go to KOCBD.com immediately and use that code TSB10. Like before we went to pay some bills, Bernard, I think we got the biggest fight in boxing right now with Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. We seen Oscar De La Hoya come out and say it's only one hurdle left. My questions to you is, have that hurdle been completed?
No. But it will. I got a lot of confidence in that getting done based on the two fighters really wants to fight. And they understand their legacy starting now. And if you're going to start from anywhere, starting now is very important to be known as a person that fought everybody in their division. Then retire or now had an opportunity where they'll say you didn't fight the best in your division. Some people got to go, whether they Hall of Famers or not Hall of Famers. They got to go through hearing that. They got to go through hearing that in their career. I know I didn't want to be that. I can't speak for no one else. I want to be known for everybody in my division. Everybody in my division. Whether I wipe them out or not, I want to be known for that. Sometimes that's not important to certain fighters. I'm only speaking for me. But I can say this. I haven't been around Tank a long time or often. I don't know him personally based on our age and generation. But we're right next door, Baltimore, Maryland. That's right there. Mm-hmm. But so if then you know somebody that know them or whatever, old heads, whatever. But go past that and just deal with the mindset of two guys, two young men who believe they're the best, who are undefeated, and also who, to me, is the engine to the people that still consider boxing a sport they will want to watch for God knows how long. They in position now to lock a lot of millions of fans, hundreds of thousands of fans end because we haven't had this type of talent like this at this moment, where you got two fighters who are both superstars in the social media world we live in. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like we can compare Ray Leonard and any other welterweight that was on that time, and there's some few. There's a few names I can bring up, but I know for a fact there's not too many names, but there are names there to do other fights after you come in with a historic super fight that can easily generate it over $1 million+ buys. Yep. That is not exaggerating. That's not being a promoter. That's just being somebody that's been in the game for 3 decades and represented himself with some good advisors behind me, giving me information, but I had to make the decisions. Why you think only 2 fighters in the history of boxing received Manager of the Year? George Foreman first, and of course, Bernard Hopkins.
Man, yeah.
No, hold up. If you didn't know, then now you know.
Now, hey, so go.
For some reason, you might think it's just blowing smoke. Just go through you can find all kinds of information out there. Just go ahead and get off your, you know what, and just start hitting your fingers. You ain't got to do too much work. And it would come right to you. It would come right to you.
It's all facts. Now, going back again to
I want to be able to say to the fans, like I've said it, I've been consistent. They want to see the best fighters in the world fight. I want to see the same thing. I don't put a promoter hat on when I say that. I say that as a bona fide certified whole list of credibility to say that's what I wanted. If you don't want that, because I did say I'm going to expose you.
There you go.
I'm going to expose you. Bernard Hopkins, the alien, the executioner, B-Hop, whatever you want to call me, asshole, it doesn't matter. I'm going to expose you. Whether they're advisors, whether they're hiding under a rock as an advisor, a consultant, a manager, or whoever, I'm going to pull you from under that rock and I'm going to expose you.
All right. So on that point, so we just Corey mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Steven Espinoza was on the Chicken Talk podcast earlier this week, and that's when he mentioned the one issue that Oscar had come out and went public with about the rematch clause. So I got 2 questions on that. Had that been discussed already, and why was there a surprise? And Steven Espinoza sounded confident that was going to get done. So my second question on that is, we saw today rumors starting to float out about Ryan Garcia pursuing Regis Prograis if the Tank Davis fight doesn't happen. So is Steven off by being confident, like he said, or are y'all? I mean, I'm sure you always want to have a backup plan, but are you not as confident as Showtime, Steven Espinoza, Heyman, the folks over at PBC? What's that looking like?
Well, you are definitely on point. Far as 2 sides totally have different opinions on why the fight is not now announced now that is here, whether you get a fight here or fight there. We're going to see April 15th. You know what I mean? You understand? That's what people want to hear. All the other stuff has to be, it can't be done in the media. It can't be done in a way of this person saying one thing, but then the other side Golden Boy or the other side, PDC, is saying this and saying that. What I'm saying is this. Both sides have a responsibility. The fans is not going to care about actually who's wrong or right on the representation side. You know what they're going to care about? whether they're going to fight or not at this moment when it's so important. So I don't want to answer this, and I'm not answering this in a politic way, but I'm going to handle it and say it the way I think it's going to be not a good thing for boxing if it don't happen, based on you're going to believe this side or you're going to believe this side. Do this side, Golden Boy side, want to really had a fight, or do PBC really want to have a fight? I think that at the end of the day, we all have a blame on our hands if this fight doesn't happen this year. If this fight doesn't happen this year, then the world of boxing fans and casual fans, or possibly newcomers who just happen to be a follower on social media of Tank or Ryan, there's a possibility. Fans waiting to get into the boxing or the sweet science of learning how to go based on their popularity. Who knows? If this fight doesn't happen, we both, companies and entities, have a responsibility of not letting the fans down, and got to take the responsibility and the backlash if this fight doesn't happen, where I believe, and I'm saying this, let the people down for seeing a super fight.
But with fights happening, right, you know, the problem with all big fights happening, it's an A side and it's a B side.
But that's not out. You only got two unique situations. You don't have them all the time. Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia is not an average fight based on where they are. That's a unique situation. I just said super fights. If we have super fights every fight, then it won't be as super as we talk about it. So you got to have a regular season, playoff season, and then you got to have a championship season, and then you have the Super Bowl. What are we talking about? Boxing has the same thing. Basketball has the same thing. It's set up the same. You must go through something. You must prove yourself. You must get to the contention of being a top contender. So you had to knock off a few people. You had to make some certain moves and certain statements, and of course continue to keep winning. I mean, I'm trying to figure out without figuring it out. I understand what's going on, but I can't figure out what they think, that our fans are stupid.
Yeah.
The boxing world that spend their good money, schedule their day, their weekend, or whatever they at, to tap into preliminary fights, let alone super fights. It's going to be a lot of backlash, I believe, from both sides. Going to get hit with it.
Oh yeah.
Based on something that's being talked about, fights been announced, dates been thrown out there, and now the letdown.
Yeah. But what I like about it, Bernard,
just think how you would feel. You already got a confirmation that she will go on a date with you. You're all dressed up. Hold up. You're all dressed up. You went and got you really didn't want to get your hair cut that way, but you got to cut because you want to leave the mustache a little down now. You did all this stuff. I mean, you went above and beyond, and guess what? You get a phone call. I don't want to pitch too much of business out, but I'm going to say, you get a phone call, and guess what that phone call say?
What did it say?
Tell me.
Can we cancel it to next year?
Damn. Yeah, no, and that's how we feel, man, as fans. You know, I'm a fan first before all of this stuff, and so this come to mind when I saw De La Hoya Oscar coming out saying what he was saying this week. Look, I think, okay, Tank, you lose. All right, you lose. PBC loses, all right. As simple as that. But we have a very recent situation with Devin Haney, George Kambosos, where Devin stepped up, said it don't matter where we fight. I don't care if I have to travel back to Australia after I win. Are you guys planning on staying put on y'all stance because Ryan will deserve it if he gets that win? Or are you to the point, because you just said if this fight doesn't happen because of something silly, then everybody's to blame, which I appreciate you also taking accountability instead of just pointing fingers. Are y'all at the point, obviously you're not going to give in or saying like that, but have there been discussions saying to hell with it, let's just do it? There's a lot of money to be made and we don't want to lose this. Are y'all standing firm?
I mean, it's first of all, you have to at least respect the management of the fighter, how they thinking, how they want to approach it. The back and forth on both sides is in anything. It's negotiations. It's media. Is when I say media, it's going through the media. They pit they twist or their agendas twist. I call it agenda twist, whatever it is, good or bad, disagree to agree. I think those things will be worked out. I just want to put everybody on notice of it not happening and what it would do. I believe that this fight, based on the magnitude and based on its time right now.
Yeah.
They at the time of their life and their career where, to me, it's nowhere to go as further as this fight to go to the top to say, hey, I own boxing now when it comes to who represent this sport.
Yeah.
And so I believe, and again, I'm going to say it one more time, two more times. I believe the fights, it's going to happen. I just believe that if it's that 1% that somehow, even something of a delay, I'm going to take it that extreme with you. And it could be legit because it's a delay, right? It will make the suspicious grow even doubtful of people who's looking, who heard the soap opera, been paying attention, somehow for the life of whatever, attached back to maybe it is a fight, maybe it will happen. I'm still letting people know and understand how dangerous this is. I said the word dangerous of catching, of losing the fans, especially from the lack of super fights in the last 2 to 3 years, 2.5 years, and then now get back in the swing of things, and you're going to do us like this.
Yeah, and that's the one thing.
I think the fans will punish us going forward, where other fights will happen, and they won't get the respect or the viewership or the rating or the attention based on the letdown. And I gave you a scenario about, you getting told, can't make it tonight, but here, not next month, not next week, not tomorrow, next year. That means goodbye. Bye-bye.
And the one thing I can respect about Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia, they're not doing no talking. They letting the people who handle them handle the situation. They're not coming out here talking about negotiations in public or what went on in negotiations. They're letting each side handle it for them. So that's why me as a boxing fan and also a guy who covered the media, I believe this 100% in my heart that this fight is going to happen because them two guys, superstardom, they not talking. They letting their handlers handle it for them and not talking about business in public. So I really do believe this fight going to happen.
So Bernard, if we have to book, so if I'm your homeboy and I'm sitting across from you, I say, hey man, do I book this flight or not? It's non-refundable. Do I need to book my trip on April 15th? What would you tell me right now?
I'll tell you, you be safer and wiser if you get a buddy pass.
That'll work, man. That'll work. We got I want to bring up and Corey, I don't know if you got any more follow-up on Ryan and
I want to talk about the Ali Act. You spoke on that and how Al Heyman is avoiding it. Can you break that down for us?
Well, the Ali Act speaks for itself. is out there, they can go and actually look at the whole alley act that I stood up for, the only known undisputed fighter at that era, at that time. Matter of fact, I got the conversation about undisputed that most fighters, if not all of them, saying that they want even the female fighters because they understand how significant undisputed means. There's no dispute when you're undisputed. So I'm glad I had to throw that in there because I'm glad that sparked a history mindful generation that want to make history and want to be undisputed. But let's go to now the Muhammad Ali Act. The Muhammad Ali Act was a bill that basically all open disclosures financially dealing with fights. Fighters have to sign, they have to see first, sign, understand the numbers of what's there. That never was done in history of boxing. I'm gonna say that again to the naive by default people that's out there or no fault. There was never a provision in boxing history until that Muhammad Ali Act where the promoter must, through the commission in every state, which is another problem, I'll deal with that later, must show the financials, the money that's coming in from entities, and the fighter must sign once he or she sees those numbers. Now, but if you want more details, you can go log in the Muhammad Ali Act, Bernard Hopkins Speak, or the Muhammad Ali Act Law. How people can get around, whether it's Al Heyman, whether it's this person, whether it's that person, is because now that it says certain entities, whether it's manager or promoter, but it doesn't cover advisors, doesn't cover any other name that might can assist you to telling you that 5 million is better than 2. I think you should take the 5, or 100 million is better than 50 million. I think you should take the 100 million. I mean, and again, it gets beyond that, and there's more to that. But when you have a law that's there, it's like having meat, half of a sandwich that's supposed to be a whole sandwich. And so if you know anything about law, and if you happen to be a Harvard, Yale, or Stanford, or any other Ivy Hill or Ivy League type of Ivy League type of schooling, and not even that, to be honest with you, I'm just being a little facetious. You'll see that and be like, oh, okay, it's a little meat on the bone. I don't think I have to do this, do that. So to put it this way, in short terms, the Muhammad Ali Act gives people a way to say, okay, I'm not represented as a promoter. So what I'm going to do is I call myself, say, an advisor. Y'all follow me so far?
That's what Heyman is, what you're saying. Yeah.
I'll follow myself as an advisor. Yes. So now I know that the Ali Act doesn't cover advisors. It doesn't. It doesn't cover anything that got to do with telling you what to do, what not to do, as far as information to make a decision. And it also put only the promoter, because that's all people hear about. The promoter took this, promoter did that. So just say I'm an advisor, but I want to disguise as one. That's what I'm known as. That's what I contract my fighters. That's what I am to them. I'm an advisor to you. So I know that I can't get caught up in the Ali Act because I'm going to hire by salary a promoter with license. And just say, I'll say to one of the Goosens, I say, look, this is what you do. You the promoter, you do all the groundwork, you do what promoters do. I give you a fee, say a flat fee, 50,000, 100,000, whatever. but I'm operating as a promoter. I'm just getting past the lukewarm law of the Muhammad Ali Act that's established, and basically hire promoters in every state, country, or world that I'm in. I mean, that's not rocket science. What it is knowing how to manipulate. Hold up. Learn how to manipulate and neutralize what's beneficial to you and your plans. I say plans with the S on the end. And to be able to run rapid for 12 whatever years, and basically in a different scientific, up-to-date way. The Don King old way was the way it was. The new way is just like the social media way of this world. It's the same, but it's different. When you read the Muhammad Ali Act and you hear and see this video, you will understand more, which you don't or didn't understand then.
So are you saying in a nutshell, if I'm understanding this correctly, that the Ali Act is there to protect fighters, is there to protect shady business? Are you saying that it's as simple as labeling yourself an advisor instead of a promoter to kind of get away with that gray area stuff? Is that kind of what you're saying in a nutshell? Since he's not labeled promoter,
absolutely.
That's why we see Wilder talking about not getting paid fast enough. That's why we're saying. I mean, is that kind of the message you're throwing out?
Him, or it ain't the message I'm throwing out. I'm saying facts.
Yeah.
See, I don't have to be pitting the message. The young fighters of this generation and the fighters of yesterday respects B-Hop knowledge, respects B-Hop's awareness in the game of business of boxing. And see, we're not talking about just the business of money. Because I've seen a lot of fools make money on the street. And I've seen a lot of fools make money off the streets. But when we talk about what I'm talking about, is we talking about understanding that the laws and the rules, they are voted on, debated on, argued about, and back and forth, and settled on, can be manipulated for certain individuals or certain plans, agendas, work for them. And now that the fighters, whether it's this one, Wilder, or this one, welterweight, junior welterweight, they starting to realize, because now they are free, they think, to go other places and show their talents after all this time. No, you're not. You got to pay a fee to leave this house, sir.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait a minute. No. What do you mean? Well, what are you talking? So they got to ask somebody that's close by. Well, what are you talking about? I got to give somebody 25%, 35%. Oh, what are you talking about? You got a low jack on you. You didn't even know that low jack started years ago. But you wasn't paying attention because it wasn't scripted for you to pay attention, because the checks was fat. The checks was twice as much as they normal would be in any boxing history, let alone mine. So that blinded a young soul, a young mind that want that type of life and want those type of things to prove I'm successful. And that gets manipulated, as I said earlier. But guess what? The worst nightmare has come. Me. Where the worst nightmare has come, it's going to be with facts. But it's not like a surprise sneak attack, because, man, Bernard been consistent with this.
No.
If you don't believe me that I'm going to be like my teenagers, Google it.
Let me ask you this, Bernard.
I'm inconsistent.
You just stated that it's a tactic that Al Heyman could use. So if it's a tactic that he could use, it's not illegal, is it?
Oh, wait a minute. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not backing up for what I said 20 minutes ago or 10. That law is a law that you can manipulate no matter who the hell you are.
Yeah.
If you are the first one 10 plus years ago to do it, then I salute you on that based on you was the one that started it, not on the act and not only what it means. It just says you are the pioneer of that legacy. Now there's 4 other people who've been doing it and 3 other people doing it. Anybody can do it if you're in the boxing. If you're in the boxing and you ain't the fighter, it's wide open. It's the law. How do you use that law? The stop sign say stop. Do everybody pay attention to the law?
Yeah, but can we change it though, Bernard? Can it be changed?
Hey, B, you. I think he's freezing up. Hey, Bernard.
What did you? You just broke up.
Yeah, you
I
broke
said,
up.
can it be changed?
Can that be changed? What Corey
Can the law be changed?
Take a lot of work, I bet.
In what way?
To where you can't manipulate the system like that.
Hey, they take some Congress. Hey, listen.
Let me tell you, but I ain't answered the question. See, when I ain't answered the question, because 1, it was a great question that I wasn't ready for. Second, sure, when I say something, I'm going to make sense and I've already thought about it. So let me now give the answer, which is the third thing. It would never be a reality where it won't be a killing in every city in America every day.
Yep.
It won't be reality for me to say that no matter how the bill get beefed up a little bit more solid as we can get it, it will always be a time in everything, sports too, where you will have some manipulation and some bullshit and all other things. That's the balance of life. You can't have the yin without the yang, so you're going to have that, how much you want to deal with and what side you want to be on. This is about right now where you at. This ain't about actually where it's going to be better one day or next. Listen, a lot of things was talked about in the 50s that's not starting, that's really just reached its ugly head. That's the political talking, but it's reality. So no, it won't change. No matter how it gets it won't change. But what it will do, it will put a warning of those who do get sacrificing caught in the greediness, the thievery, the worst scumbags of the world. They will be exposed, and that will send shockwaves and slow some of it down. But in reality, if that's the type of person I believe I am, it would never stop.
Yeah, and it's too much money on the board. But on that topic, B, this is the photo that was heard around the world. This is one of the hot topics I want to touch on with you. Give me 45 seconds because I know the crowd is salivating to hear what the hell's going on with Mr. Terrence Crawford and Golden Boy. Give me 45 seconds. We'll be right back. All right, listen up, guys. We're calling all Little League coaches. We're calling all middle school coaches, calling all high school coaches. We're calling out all those team mamas. If you need team uniforms, if you need jerseys, accessories, whatever gear you're looking for the team, please check out our friends over at Elite Sportswear. These guys do it all, and they do it great. So if you're needing a brand new look for the younger athletes, for the teams, do me a favor, trust us with Elite Sportswear. These guys do all of our gear here at Spit Bucket Podcast, hats, shirts, hoodies. We could not be more pleased with them. So check them out over at thebetteruniform.com. You can find them on Facebook at The Better Uniform or on Instagram, Elite Sportswear 17. That's Elite Sportswear 17 on Instagram. Again, if you want your team looking super fly on game days, do yourself a favor, do the squad a favor. Call Roderick and the team over at Elite Sportswear ASAP. Let them know the Spit Bucket Podcast sent you. Appreciate our friends over at Elite Sportswear. They hook it up.
Shout out to Elite, man. Everybody make sure y'all show up and show out for our sponsors, Elite.
Yeah, so going back to Ali, the Ali Act, going back to the loopholes, going back to the politics of boxing. This photo was shared like a crazy virus just 2 weeks ago, man. B-Hop, we heard the Alexis Rocha possibility. We heard, man, this is a wide open conversation. Been going on for 5-6 years now. We want to see Terrence Crawford. We want to see him up against Errol Spence, and we cannot get there fast enough. We heard Oscar De La Hoya mention a schedule of fights that was presented to Terrence Crawford. So where are we, man? What's the word? Are we going to see Crawford Rocha, then Crawford Ortiz, and then we have to wait, like you said, about that date that canceled on us until next year? Are fight fans going to be forced to wait till 2024, 2025? What are your thoughts on it? And just give us an update because there's so much news out there.
First of all, I if that happens, I advise everyone in boxing to leave the country. And second, let me tell you about my experience way before the meeting, being around Crawford/Bud at our fights, Golden Boy fights, and sitting right next to each other, just having a conversation about boxing and careers and stuff like that. Brief stuff, but enough for respect. Let me tell you, when I talked to Crawford for those many, discussions about life, about how he came up and how I came up, and about boxing, and at Golden Boy's office in LA, with his manager, I see a lot of similarities in myself. And what I mean by that is how he felt and feels about where he belongs and where he believes, and his worth. Yo, man, I told him he has, and I said this to him, please ask him. I said to him, you have, to me, remind me of your demeanor, but your strike and your reaction and your seriousness in your face, just saying nothing. Remind me of Donald Curry. And I said, he was one of those guys that didn't, he didn't do all that. He was really I'm not going to say meek, like a guy. When I mean meek, that's a word we say and feel like a guy that's laid back, but he's known he would get he'll in your life right there.
Yeah.
He has that type of cool, calm, and collective type of mentality or personality, but we've seen him strike. We've seen him do him. Enough said about that. Now the business, how you got to look out for yourself, how you got to be the man that make the decision for yourself, and understanding your job is to secure yourself, of course, your family. He have kids, he have a wife, he has a plan in his head that he started years ago, and still thinking about later down the line how he had to secure his family. Got all that. That's what I told you about the similarities. And I said to him, we can provide that by providing the fights that he cannot seems to be able to get those done. We know he comes from arguably one of the biggest and still respected in a boxing game over 50 years. That is top rank. Then he had the BK with his new company, whatever, and no disrespect about other alphabet, but I know it's BK something, whatever. But at the end, he had that show, I believe, the last fight, and now looking for something bigger and better. We have those challenges. We have those challenges to offer. Some say stable, I say promotional company. So, and look, there's other fights, other places. There's by no means, but I think Crawford is in the best position any fighter is in today, believe it or not. You might get some feedback on that statement I just said that.
Yeah.
Why? Because he has choices. And there's a lot of fighters running from a house they was in for 10 years and got to give up 20 to 25% of their money or more. And they upset about that because they just found out about that because they ain't rent and they just understand what the contract is. That's why I'm saying that. I'm going to tie that little nugget in and then I'm going to bring that nugget back in a minute. Crawford is in a good situation. He's at every promotional company or a promoter is in his surroundings, basically pitching to get his service and to use our service. I believe sooner than later, he will make that decision because I know he wants to prove a lot of people wrote him off and wrong. I told you we had similarities, man.
Bernard, can I be honest with you?
And hold up.
Uh-oh.
And I believe it's going to be us.
Yeah, can I be honest with you? I do too. Because if I'm being honest, I think Golden Boy is Terrence Crawford only option. That's how I see. I think y'all are his only option. I think he has nowhere he can go but Golden Boy.
It's a perfect connection. And one of the major reasons is, and I'm going to take a bow for myself. I'm there to protect him. And I'm not saying he needs protection from anybody else that won't protect him. But I have a duty amongst what? I have
Amongst
a duty amongst my community to represent one, and not that many that proven in history to now I get a chance now to challenge myself to understand that I'm going to look out for all the fighters. But it's something about looking out for your own. I keep it 100. And if you can agree to disagree, if you listen to what I said carefully, and I'm going to say it one more time, I give game of true sweet science of knowledge to everybody. I don't give a damn where you come from, what you look like, and what you represent. You're asking me for something that I can give you based on what I've achieved to give me credibility and a lot of other things that come with that for the future. Then I must do that no matter what you look like and where you're from. But my house comes to me. And it's not clean or it's not given knowledge how to stay clean. I must take that and change that thinking to be able to understand that Crawford has tasted the politics more than any fighter that I know of that was open about it in his time slot of history and life that the fighters now are in. This is their era, not ours, not mine. And so to see that it still goes on generation to generation, and to see a guy like him in the Golden Boy's office giving us an opportunity to say to him, this is what we can give you from outside of promotion. We got the fighters that he can't sleep on like it's give him fights, because it's not. He admitted to it. But he also admit that he can beat him. And I'm just waiting to be able to announce that we're going to move forward. And I'm glad to be there to make history with what I believe is the Bernard Hopkins and the politics of not letting it beat you in the 2023 era. Crawford is representing that. Terrence Crawford is representing that.
So you think we're going to see it? I mean, you think you're going to see it in best case scenario, how soon? And when I say it, I'm always talking about Spence Crawford.
I'm going to tell you, man. If you ask me, I like to see Crawford fight a meaningful fight that people can respect and understand, that he can't sleep on it, then go right to Spence. Absolutely. I mean, go right there, because now you own that division. You own hype. You own the controversy. You own all that. And guess what? You taking a chance to come in second. Isn't chasing greatness dangerous? Yeah. LeBron James been chasing greatness since last night. Yo, man, any athlete that's out there, any non-athlete that's out there, just if you got a competitive spirit in you, you want to show that you're the best. If you taking a school test, you want to get an A+ because that person got an A. Come on.
Yeah, but Bernard, honestly, Crawford had the fight right there. And he chose to fight David Avanesian. The public don't look at him the same because for years, and I'm going to say this respectfully and honestly, because you are one of the all-time great. For years, people criticized Earl Spence, including myself being from Dallas, Texas, for not taking the fight. When the fight finally was here for Terrence Crawford, in my opinion, he dropped the ball. Your thoughts?
Well, obviously, I don't have anything to do with the dealings or do anything with the back business or whatever that fight took place. But I'm pretty sure Crawford made some statements. And do anyone know on your end what statements he made based on, quote unquote, you say dropping the ball? Because my thing is this, outside looking in, I just said what I said there because I don't know, you know, the details and things that made this big fight that's supposed to happen. And everybody was talking about it, and you're absolutely right, based on it not happening and drop the ball. Because it didn't happen. Somebody dropped the ball. So they say Crawford dropped the ball. You ain't the first person I heard that from. But if you ask him and talk to him, he'll tell you that probably the worth wasn't his worth. And maybe some other, I guess, options that somehow might have been thrown up, thrown down, or thrown in. No, I pass on. Who knows how and what way that this thing went south.
I know, but Bernard, you are the epitome. You defied all of that. Let me say this real quick. Because when you went against Felix Trinidad, you didn't get the large share, but guess what you did? You accepted what you had to get where you needed to be. When you went against De La Hoya, we knew you was the better fighter. You didn't get the large share, but you accepted what you needed to accept because you knew at the end of it, you were going to be rising tall on all of it. And I think, honestly, and I say this respectfully, Crawford's in that position.
Yo, I understand what you're saying. Crawford, everybody's not built mentally and built in a generation that I came from. That's not taking him to a low level. That's not taking in a high level. I'm saying to you, I totally understand the pain of what you used to seeing, especially in the era that you came up in, or at least witnessed. And you're absolutely right. It's when I went in there in time just to get the fight, knowing I can beat the guy for less money. The stories is out there. You just mentioned them. I can be on the phone all night if I tell you and can prove it. It's paperwork. Because they never thought I was going to first go in there for the money that was low offered, and then go in there with the demeanor is that this is really $10 million, and I'm going to beat y'all in the ring, and then y'all going to have, I'm going to beat anybody else, and then y'all going to have to sit down and give me what I want. And that's what I'm hearing from yourself, and that's not in the spirit of this generation. This generation. Now, you're absolutely 100%. They all guilty of this one. Every last one of them. I don't give a top to bottom. My side, their side, whoever's side. They're not looking at history as something as important until it's over with. And they realize they dropped, as you say, the ball. Guess what? No, guess what? That's when the car that they got at that particular moment, the car that they had, the house that they had, whatever they get, after a while that becomes old. But history never becomes old. Think about it. They already moved on to something else like they already did to get where they at now. We all did. But one thing about history, time moves, but history doesn't change. It gets added on as those years of decades go by, and now you get what you're saying, oh, I had an opportunity. Now you become somebody's coulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda podcast. That's not in the spirit of most fighters. I'm not going to judge all of them, but I can tell you, when I say most, if you want a percentage, I say over 60% is not even thinking that way. And that's going to be regretful one day. I guarantee you, more than one of those fighters is going to regret that.
And be honest, look, I used to say this about Earl Spence before this happened with Terrence Crawford, right? When he completely blindsided everybody with that David Avenesian fight. If people say they didn't get blindsided by that fight, they're total liars. I used to say, Earl, if you didn't take that fight, history not going to treat you well.
Yeah, I heard it.
What
Now,
he took the fight. What?
Well, I'm just hoping.
No, I'm saying, what do you think? What do you think? I'm saying, what do you think is his decision going to be?
Who, Earl?
Yeah.
If he would, well, like you say, this new era, right? And I had to understand that too, from barely coming up in the era. So I had to learn that too. This new era, it's about getting the most money you can, right? And then capitalizing. I think Earl did that. Earl deserved criticism because he shouldn't have opened his mouth and said, Terrence Crawford, go get that belt, then I'll fight you.
I agree.
And Terrence Crawford when they got.
I agree. That's what I got. That's what I wanted to get out. That exactly. Now you cleared. Yes, you made it real clear more because I kind of like I understood what you said, but you hit it out the park with that one. I agree.
Now, to Corey's point, the arrow was saying you're on the wrong side of the street and all that sort of deal back then. Bud became a free agent. We still didn't see it happen. Now, if Bud is working with you and Oscar and Golden Boy, it's not like you guys and Al Heyman are BFFs and going out to lunch every day and frolicking through the park. He's still on the other side of the street. So my question to you guys, and I think it's a lot of people question, what are we going to see different to ensure we get the fight of this generation? What are we going to see different from Golden Boy to ensure that we get this? Because he's still technically on the wrong side of the street if he signs with Golden Boy.
Pressure, scrutiny, much. It got to be, listen, this ain't going to be a cat fight. It's going to be more of a dog because you have to call people out on their shit.
Yep.
Yo, no, listen, listen. And listen, let me tell you something. I'm not afraid of nobody. I fear Allah. I fear Allah, but I'm not worrying about. I've been through those trials. I've been through those, moments
Trials and
where
tribulations.
they try to you want to make him upset. He can blackball you. I mean, that ain't gonna do nothing but make me even more want to stand up. Like, don't you understand that, I was groomed to go through the things that I went through, and some of it was adolescence, but a lot of it wasn't. And that was knowledge to get me through the day of second half of my life at 58 years old as of January 15th. Now I can say to myself, I say, oh, wait a minute. What's going to happen different is he comes with us. We made a commitment. It ain't going to be, we can't stop others from not wanting to do business. You can't force nobody and put something to their head and say, look, you're going to sign this. Them days are over with. But what you have to do is be real with the people that pay our bills. You have to slay them, not only in public, any means necessary to let them understand and hold them accountable. Hold them accountable for everything that they said openly, and remember what they promised. And remember what their advisors, their managers, their consultants, or whatever name they're hiding under. I say a rock that they hide under. You have to call them out. And last but not least, but it's the most important thing of the car is the engine. And the fighters now are recognizing they're an engine. You must call the fighters out that are hiding because they really know they can't beat that individual. They know they really can't really carry the weight that they talk. You must bring them out. You must slay them any means necessary. And now you have what? You have a pressure building up that ain't looking good for the other side. And what they have to do now is either sell their guys out and tell them the gig is over, or do the right thing and say, now you got to prove what you always say that you are, the best in this division. I'm the most energized instigator in boxing right now. I'm the most energized instigator in boxing right now, and I'm going to take it to another level. Every time I see something, hear something, smell something, I'm going ham 3 times without even knowing that I don't even think about eating pork.
That's why I'm hoping Terrence Crawford signs with Golden Boy Promotions. I think that is the best move, whether he get that Earl Spence fight or not, because y'all got one of the young ferocious. See, this guy who I talk about in my Ricky Bobby voice, he wakes up and he pisses excellence. I'm talking about Virgil Ortiz Jr. 20-0, 20 knockouts. That's a mega fight.
You know, when I think of that fight, but I think of him, I mean, speak a little bit about him. Ice in his veins when he gets ready. Ice in his veins, cold, destroyer. And calm in and out, and to the next one, as he says. That fight there itself is a fight that people will appreciate in boxing, and it would take it way back to those moments, man. I like Duran, like, and I'm not saying he's a Duran. Don't get crazy out there, everybody. I'm just telling you the culture, the moxie and the style and the seriousness and the destroy ice in his vein type of approach that he has. Yo, They say sky's the limit as a cliche. I say to him is what he wants to do. He will own that division. I'm going to say it again. Don't get mad, y'all, and all that. Y'all figure because I'm black, he's Mexican. I should be sticking to the black guy.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Said that. I'm just talking facts. I'm keeping it 100.
Yep.
I'm looking for some great legendary stuff to come out of talent, history, all the things that make you who you are and become respectful in the history of the sweet science. I'm looking for that. I know that's high praises, y'all, but trust me, I don't think anybody gonna say whether you with us, believe us or not, that his talent speaks for itself.
And it's not just the talent. It's his work ethic. It's his character. Because there's talent in every gym in America. You know what I mean? It's the work ethic. It's the grind. But
he got the old school. He got an old soul to him.
I've been covering him since he was an amateur here in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
Virgil Ortiz is the real deal.
He has a workman's mentality, and he's real mild about it, even if he back out in the first round.
Oh yeah.
And he's like that in the gym. See, y'all, I want y'all to understand. This ain't just a fight costume.
No.
This is him.
Absolutely, dude.
Like, what the hell y'all making a big deal out? I gotta beat the ones I need to beat, these top guys. Like, I need to beat the guys, my peers, and talk them in superstar status. Like, he understands that now. That's scary.
That's scary.
It is. And listen, I'll say this. Let's say we never get Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. If we don't ever get that, the last thing boxing fans want to see is Terrence Crawford fight Alexis Rocha, and then Blair the Flair, and then let's see who's next. If we
got in-house, we got 3 to 4 fights in-house that nobody complained about. We got 3 to 4 fights that can be made.
That's true.
Well, the point I was going to make is that Terrence Crawford ain't no spring chicken no more. He's getting up there in age. So I don't think it would do justice to Terrence to throw him in there with Virgil in 2 years. You know what I mean? Because nobody at that point, it's a little bit different fight.
The time is now.
Absolutely.
While the iron is hot, the timing couldn't be better now than any other year, even when he got released from Top Rank. The timing is, there's no other better time than now that I believe. If you can get him on tonight, you can get him on tomorrow to ask Bud, this is the time. You mentioned age. I'm not an advocate whether it do or can or will or won't. What I am an advocate is if you try to beat an alien, then you already lost. There's only one alien, and that is me.
See, that's why it's hard to talk age with a fighter like you.
Absolutely.
Because you did it so late in your career and you were so successful late in your career. But like we said, everybody not Bernard Hopkins. Everybody ain't got the mindset of a Bernard Hopkins. But
Crawford is on. Man, this was not too long ago. Y'all seen the pictures went viral. Listen. Like I said earlier, 20 minutes ago, I know we've been on the phone an hour or some minutes, but I looked at him eye to eye. We sat right across. There's 4 people in the space, office. It didn't blink. Every discussion, we looked at each other. Nobody looked up. Nobody looked down. Nobody looked to the left, to the right. We looked at each other. He has that work ethic. How much you weigh, man? 4 pounds overweight. I'm 5 pounds. That was me, the old man. I'm 4 at 75. I know light heavyweight. That's okay. I'm 184, 185 right now. You got a scale somewhere. Nobody has a scale, but I know where I'm at. I know my weight. He's on weight almost now. He need that to go train if he had to go to fight next month. That's why I'm telling you right now. Time is nobody's friend if you want to stay young. Time is nobody's friend if you think you're going to live forever. Time is nobody's friend if you think that you can capitalize on whether it's a deal, whether it's an opportunity, whether it's this, whether it's that. That covers everything. That's what time does. And He has time, but no time to waste. I'm going to say that again. He has time. Terrence Crawford, Bud, had time, but no time to waste.
Facts.
The time that I think, the time, if it was up to me and say I was a friend or somebody you could talk to or a promoter or Bernard Hopkins himself, take the business out. Because I'm always going to be that. That's why I always.
I know, but Bernard, it's just different.
He must understand that years are going by, and at the same token, he must know himself and know himself to know I got 4 more years in me. I got 3 more years in me. I got 2 more years in me. Or put it this way: sometimes we don't like to think about years. Let's just think about fights. I got 4. I want to sign a full fight deal at this level with Golden Boy, and boom, 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 and everything's set up and let's go. We got those 4 fights. We got them in-house and we got them out-house, which means that I will go ahead and the promoters will go ahead and the entities that go and negotiate, we will go ahead and get those fights that's not in the house because there are fights outside the house that he wants. We must get it for him. We work for the fighters.
Facts.
And there's one thing that I stand on and I'm going to continue to stand on. The only adversity or any type of non-representation of the fighters we promote, the biggest oath that we must continue to stand on that I believe, and I said this to Oscar and I said it early in our partnership, is we don't become those who we despise.
There you go, man.
We have the power. We have the influence. We have the Hall of Fame status. We have our accolades. They are different. But one thing that we must be conscious and aware of is that they're going to come to us even in fear of someone seeing them or hearing we somehow was at a fight and hugged each other. That this is a time that you must understand that that's important. We don't become those who we despise. Because I know the phone calls I get, and everybody ain't from Golden Boy Promotion fighters. And then listen, now there's tricky and there's a line that you have to walk because you're not under our promotion.
Would y'all ever do 1-fight deals?
Whatever the fighter wants and agrees, or with his manager, advisor, or whoever is their representation, but the fighter wants it, absolutely. You know why? We're not promoting ourselves. We promoting them. It goes back to we don't become those who we despise. We don't become those who we despise. How the hell I'm going to tell a fighter that giving us an opportunity to promote a huge fight that's worthy on both sides of doing.
Absolutely.
Nevertheless, the fighter wants to do 1 fight, at least to show that we can do it on that magnitude. Why wouldn't I be eager to prove that I'm that person and this is a great decision? I want to be able to show you that. I want you to run to me next time and ask me to promote many other fights. That's what all promoters should be willing to prove. Not just because you're Golden Boy or you this or you that. It's because if you can deliver what you deliver, and I'm not saying nobody should protect themselves and have like a promissory stipulation somewhere or note. I'm not saying that's off the table just so we can sleep at night. But at the end of the day, the promoters need to prove and should be proven, no matter who they are, to the fighter and not the fighter proven to us. Once they get at that level, they're already there. That's why we're interested in promoting them.
But that's all we can hope, man. That's all we can hope is that you take that energy to all these meetings because you're talking like a fan. You know, you're seeing that if Tank and Garcia don't happen, it's on both sides. You're seeing that we need to have his fights. So as a dude sitting from the outside looking in, I love what I'm hearing because it sounds like you're a man of authority. You're going to make this happen, or you're going to do everything in your power to make it happen. So, dog, I'm excited. I'm excited on all the little clues you've given us tonight.
You should be excited about two things. And I know you're excited. I appreciate you. But I want you to understand my definition of why you should be excited. One, the Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis fight is going to happen this year. And there's other fights that's going to happen this year with McGee involved. Also, Bernard Hopkins then put everybody, the alien, the executioner, B-Hop, granddaddy, grandfather, I don't know what you want to call him. I put everybody on notice on a spit bucket.
Hey, Bernard.
The biggest instigator of boxing is Bernard Hopkins. That's the role I'm taking. That's the title I'm taking. From now on, announced on Spit Bucket, that the biggest instigator in boxing, here he comes. So some going to be very, 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 very excited. And a lot of them is going to be very, very scared. So to everyone out there, the biggest instigator in boxing to make the big fights of all promotions, of all walks of life, I'm calling out from the women to the men to the men to the women. And the biggest instigator is calling. And guess what? I'm a Hall of Famer. So my instigating spit is going to be different than anybody else.
Hell yeah.
Hey, but no.
Spit is respected, but a Hall of Famer spit, it carries some weight.
It does.
And Bernard, we know we took up more time than what you was gonna give us, and we really appreciate this for everything that you do for the sport of boxing. We appreciate you, like as a promotional, what you do for the sport of boxing. Now we appreciate you what you did as a fighter for the sport of boxing. Like I said, you one of the greatest of all times, man. And when people mention your name, it's just so many names you could put by it for your journey through the walk of life.
Absolutely, Bernard. We appreciate you, man. I know it's late, especially on your side of town. But, hey, we didn't get to talk on this tonight, but we will see you for Zudo Ramirez and Rosado. We'll see you out there. And, man, we can't tell you how much we appreciate. We're excited. And anytime you want to instigate, just shoot me a text and we'll jump on a live and we'll stir the pot. Because that guy's sitting right there, Mr. IOTBA, he loves to instigate too. So we'll instigate together, man. But we appreciate you, B-Hop. Any final thoughts, any message you want to send to Espinoza? Because we know Chicken Talk's watching and he's got a relationship with Steven. Anything you want to close out with?
Respect the game. That take you from a boy to a man, whether you box or whether you watched. Respect the game, and the game will respect you. Peace.
Facts, man. All right, man. You have a good night. We will see you soon, Mr. Hopkins. Appreciate you, sir.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, y'all have a good night. Appreciate you guys.
This is JJ Solomon.
This is Ray Bradshaw, Mr. RTBA. Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. This is the Spit Bucket Podcast.